Madeline Grau. Catherine Phillips.
Madeline Murphy.
Justice Duquesne.
Riley McBride.
When you get home from work and sit down to watch a movie or start to cook dinner, do you ever stop to think about those who are not fortunate enough to have a home? Around 1/3 of our nation's population is homeless, struggling with payments, and experiencing insufficient housing. My purpose is to persuade my audience to volunteer for Habitat for Humanity and put their time towards the greater good. My credibility comes from seeing people in my community blossom from help from Habitat for Humanity and my extensive research on this organization. I will begin by discussing the 3 main needs of Habitat for Humanity, then I will offer solutions for these needs, and lastly, I will introduce a look into our future if we fail to assist Habitat for Humanity. When we think of homeless people, we usually tend to think of what they can do to help themselves. However, we failed to realize the mental strain that they are enduring. According to an NIH article by Yoshi Sano from the Department of Human Development at WSUV, Sheila Mammon from the Department of Resource Economics at UMA, and Maya Houghton from the Child and Family Research Unit at WSU Extension, there are many components that contribute to the well-being of families, such as income insufficiency, food security, stable family environment, mental and physical health security, safe housing and communities, employment opportunities, and adequate transportation. These components, taken as a whole, provide the necessary foundation for the well-being of families. For low-income families in particular, the lack of some or all of these dimensions can be severely detrimental to their well-being, since this could lead to poverty. Such a direct link between lack of well-being and poverty can ultimately lead to family instability. Poor housing conditions lead to a decreased quality of mental health and well-being. Housing Matters, an Urban Institute initiative, explains a study on housing assistance in New Haven, Connecticut, that looked at a small sample of children ages 2 to 17 and found that children living in public housing had better outcomes of mental health than those on a waiting list. I have seen the emotional effects of poor housing firsthand. My family had made a big move and arrived in Texas with little to no resources in the late 2000s. My parents were stretched impossibly thin, trying to provide for my siblings and I, and we were struggling in school because of being bullied for wearing the same clothes all the time. We were staying up way too late, worried about if we would have a bed to sleep in tomorrow or not. This is incredibly damaging to young children and families, and we need to do what we can to help solve this issue. When we look at benefiting the homeless and impoverished community, we need to not only understand the mental effect on them, but also the full scope of how many Americans are without stable housing. In the annual Homelessness Assessment Report to Congress published by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in 2023, an estimated 653,000 people were homeless on one single night. This is a 12.1% increase from the report in 2022. As many as 40 to 60% of people experiencing homelessness have a job, but housing is unaffordable because wages aren't keeping up with the rising rents. This establishes a nearly unattainable standard of living for most Americans, especially those with families. With this extremely high number of Americans lacking homes, the economic prosperity of the nation could be improved considerably by helping them. Providing permanent supportive housing to the homeless community saves taxpayer money. Healthcare costs are reduced by 59%, emergency department costs are reduced by 61%, and general inpatient hospitalizations are reduced by 77%, according to Daniel Garrett in The Business Case for Ending Homelessness by the NIH. The Habitat for Humanity website states that greater tax generation, creation of jobs, opportunities for economic development, increased job retention and productivity, and the ability to address inequality all are among the economic benefits of increased access to quality, affordable housing. By helping the less fortunate receive housing and employment, we are decreasing the amount of tax dollars that go towards the homeless and increasing the total income of communities. Now that we have discussed the needs of Habitat for Humanity, let's move into what we as citizens can do to help. My suggestion to help solve the crisis of homelessness in America is to volunteer with Habitat for Humanity, donate if you can, and give your time and effort to help the economy and the lives of those who are struggling with housing and their families. Stable housing is vital, not only to the health and safety of people, but also for the prosperity of our nation. We must not wait any longer and start volunteering as soon as possible. Habitat for Humanity, as a nonprofit organization, cannot do these things alone and need our help to make a solution a reality. By volunteering, we have first-hand experiences of rebuilding homes and improving the lives of many. Volunteers and donations contribute to getting homeless or impoverished people into a position where they can positively impact the nation's economy, improve their quality of life, and open doors to better opportunities. Becoming a Habitat for Humanity volunteer is easy. First, go to habitat.org/nearyou. Then, enter your zip code to find a volunteer opportunity in your area. Then, use the contact info or directions to the address of a local Habitat for Humanity office and sign up. Lastly, gear up and prepare to help your community take steps towards accessible housing. Now that you have the initiative and steps to become a Habitat for Humanity volunteer, let's discuss what will happen if you do or do not choose to lend a helping hand. If you put your free time to a good use and volunteer to help rebuild housing for those who are struggling with accessing or keeping decent homes, the homelessness rate will decrease significantly and you will have a hand in their mental, financial, and physical prosperity. You will also form a bond with these people and gain an appreciation for community service projects, which not only helps you grow as a person, but also helps the community thrive. If Habitat for Humanity goes without volunteers, local houses will continue to deteriorate, along with the lives of the people inside. They will lack the assistance to get on their feet and will be less likely to be able to eventually own a home. If they go without housing, their physical and mental well-being will be nearly destroyed. Giving a few hours out of our day to help provide sufficient housing to the community, citizens see nothing short of a miracle. Anything helps, even donations or advocating for the program. So let's wrap up the statistics and start taking action. By discussing the mission of Habitat for Humanity, the needs of the organization, and how to volunteer, the consequences of not volunteering, my purpose is to persuade my listeners to volunteer for Habitat for Humanity and help provide and restore housing to the less fortunate. You can lend a helping hand by volunteering at habitat.org/volunteer/nearyou or calling 1-800-HABITAT.